morning, everyone, and welcome to the PYRESWAP show for Market Monday. How exciting is this today for Market Monday? I guess, there's a whole bunch of exciting news in the last week. I'm personally excited for a couple things more specific to the project, but more on that later. How is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? How are you doing, Dr. Mac? How are you doing? Let's see. How are you doing, Fexer? How are you doing, Young Min? How are you doing, Zonic? How are you doing, Lookaz? How are you doing, Electronic? Yeah. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, fantastic. Me as well. Me as well. Me as well. So I think, anyways, guys, big news, big news, big news. And that is, in fact, Bitcoin has crossed its inflation corrected all-time high. Like, I know that everybody thinks that like 72K and stuff was like crossing new all-time high. But again, I want you guys to know something. And in fact, I'm going to pull it up here on screen share real quick. I'm going to do it. Yeah, hang on. Let me see what I can. This one right here. Thank you for that. Okay, do you guys see the numbers on my screen? Yeah. By the way, Electronic, you can't complain and lead at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Remember, everything you write in the general chat is a Yelp review for everybody lurking. Always remember that. Yeah. Do you guys see 80,200 right here? So when Bitcoin was at $69,000 in 2021, effectively speaking, because of all the inflation, the dollar losing value, really, in order to break all-time high again, as of right now, you needed $80,288. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. Make sense? So, legitimately now, yeah, you can finally say it. Bitcoin has crossed its inflation-corrected all-time high, which is, in fact, exciting. Now, that's not completely all exciting. That's not completely all exciting. Yeah, because, let's say, let me see what I can find here. There are, let's say, okay. Okay. According to CryptoQuant CEO Ki-Young Ju, he believes that Bitcoin could enter a bearish streak at the end of the year because he thinks the futures market is overheated. So he expects corrections as BTC futures market indicators overheated, but we're entering price discovery. And basically it shows that CoinGlass data shows Bitcoin has a record level of open interest, meaning there's a record level amount of people that are like leveraged on it. But here's the fucking problem. Like, this is kind of like the synopsis about this. Collective Shift CEO Ben Simpson told Cointelegraph that a pullback to 28,000 was possible, but very unlikely, which is fine. I also don't think it's likely. But the reason that this guy is in fact CEO Ki-Young Ju is because, again, do you guys remember the data? Do you guys remember the data of what they said new crypto holders, like the amount of actual new people entering crypto, like the actual like user base of crypto being higher? It wasn't at an all-time high. Yeah, like it wasn't at an all-time high earlier this year, right? And it might have to do with the fact that people don't feel like they have spare money, right? Now they might feel like they have spare money now because all the markets everywhere are rallying, right? But legitimately, if everybody who's in the market now is in the market previously, and they think that the wise move is that they're gonna all take a leveraged long on Bitcoin right now because of its volatility, if that puts too many people in that bullish position, does that make sense? If there's too many people in that position, what will actually happen is it'll reverse. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not going to happen because people aren't even buying it. They're trying to leverage Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, if too many people get in the same position, this is the same concept I talk about with like broccoli farming. Do you guys remember the broccoli farming? Yeah, literally that, Dr. Mac, yeah. Yes, if everybody's farming broccoli at the exact same time, it can be a problem. Now, again, if anything is consistent in this industry, it's crypto summer. But this is why this guy here is bearish. So always keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. I think, though, that as far as my audience goes, we tend to be a little less emotive anyways, right? So I don't think everybody here who's listening to me is necessarily doing the absolute craziest doing the absolute craziest possible leverage long on Bitcoin. But teach your own. Yeah, teach your own. Arguably, if you're holding Pyre Phantom, Pyre BNB, and Pyre AVAX, that's kind of like a leverage long on AVAX, Phantom, and BNB, right? Assuming, right? Like if you're buying it now, then when the prices of those things go up, the upside is that now those tokens also have a higher ceiling, right? So like, I mean, I just want to be clear about that. Anyways, this is a holiday in the United States, by the way. Today is Veterans Day, and therefore a lot of the banks and stuff like that are closed. So as far as like a Market Monday goes, it's not exactly a Market Monday, but just to be clear, it's banks are closed and things are like that are closed. Now, additionally, this week we do have CPI data coming out this week. We also have Jerome Powell speaking on Thursday. Yep, right here. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell speaks. Yeah, that's correct, Dr. Mack. Yeah, today's Veterans Day. So, yep. It's annoying for sure. Like, I don't really like Mondays being holidays, but they don't do it for. Yeah. Hey, thank you. Yeah, for me, it's like, okay, I can get a half-priced appetizer at Applebee's, I think, or like I can get 2-for-1 drink specials, and I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's just yeah. Anyways, fear and greed indexes today. Fear and greed indexes. Let's talk about that. So we actually have extreme greed on alternative.me. So alternative.me, I think it ranks today at a 76, which is extreme greed. CoinMarketCap, not that far off. In fact, CoinMarketCap ranks at a 79, but they just call it greed. Markets in general, according to Yahoo Finance, or was it CNN? I don't remember which dashboard I was looking at. But markets in general, yeah, like macro is also in a greed. Also an agreed day. I think it was like 69. Yeah. So all markets right now are in a greed cycle. So I mean, like, you can take that for what it's worth. This is in my opinion like one of the most important. What do I mean to say? One of the most important like macro indicators for just like how that market is going to behave over the next 24 hours. It's just like sentiment accretion. It's just I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, but it just more often than not proves to be true. Now something else that I haven't shown you guys before, but it's something that I think is really cool, and it is. I'm gonna look for this. No, that's not it. Okay, let me try it like this. There you go. This is a pretty cool tool on Yahoo Finance. Have you guys ever seen this before? This is a crypto heat map from Yahoo Finance. So you can see right now, Bitcoin has a dark green. Doge, you know, this is like a fucking running meme with Elon Musk, I guess. But yeah, Doge is up 17%, which is a lot for something in the top 10, right? The top 10 doesn't normally swing that high. Yeah. I like that meme, Alessio. Yeah, I like that meme. Yeah, Doge is at 30 cents. Now, remember, Doge's all-time high is like 79 cents or something. In fact, we can take a look at that. If we go and we look at Doge right now, Doge is number 6. Oh, Solana has apparently passed the market cap of BNB. That's a first. So it looks like Solana is up 32%. Yeah, didn't think that would ever happen, to be honest. Could it always swing back? Absolutely. Doge up to 29 cents. But if you look at like all, you can see back here in 2021, it was worth 65 cents. Do you guys see that? When Pyre sold, like never, CJ? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. What, you mean Doge? Yeah. I mean, if you think so. Yeah, if you think so. Yeah. I don't think I've ever owned Doge. I don't know what wallet I would own it on. I think I've owned Wrap Doge on like a MetaMask because they have an EVM chain. I think that the EVM of Doge is worth reviving. So to be honest, CJ, if you have a question, we would probably do Pyre Doge way before you would see Pyre Sol. Yeah, yeah, because Doge has an EVM chain, so it would be like Wrapped Doge. Do you remember that? Yeah, so we could get onto Doge for sure and just use fucking, yeah, it would be on the EVM version of Doge. You guys know what I'm talking about? Doge chain. For those of you who don't know, Doge had an EVM chain that it was doing interesting for a while, but the multi-chain thing fucked it up. So just like Phantom, Doge had a lot of problems with multi-chain. And arguably, even though Phantom's economy still exists, I would say that Doge had the wrapped version of Doge or whatever, the Doge chain, almost has no economy since the multi-chain fiasco kind of crashed it. I know that QuickSwap, which is the main, yeah, I know, exactly, but not necessarily on its EVM. But so it's kind of crazy. I know that QuickSwap or whatever, QuickSwap, which is the main DEX on Polygon, they were also trying to be the main DEX on Doge, but like I don't know if it ever worked out. Anyways, Yahoo Crypto Meat Cap, you can market cap, Yahoo Crypto Heat Map. I combined market cap and heat map in the same word, and I said meat cap. But anyways, Doge is up, and then a bunch of these other smaller ones. I don't even look at SHIB and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Jito Sol, I don't know what that is. BTCB. Okay, interesting. Okay. Sui is up, for sure. Base is cooking. Base is just ETH though, right? Yeah. Yeah. I imagine Base will be just fine. Like, I would say that Base seems to be like the winner of the Ethereum layer 2s. Yeah. Yeah, anyways, more on that later. Oh, by the way, FTX is the bankruptcy estate of FTX. Because, by the way, due to FTX being bankrupt, due to FTX being insolvent, they have to declare bankruptcy. So the FTX estate argued that Sam Bankman-Fried's $1.75 billion repurchase deal with Binance in 2021 was a fraudulent transfer because of FTX's insolvency. So the estate has to argue that Friedman didn't have the ability to like give that money away to Binance. Does that make sense? So Binance kind of got bought out from FTX, if that makes sense. But they're saying FTX and Alameda may have been insolvent from inception. So therefore that the fraudulent transaction, yeah, he's now serving a 25-year term. Bankman-Fried sold approximately 20% of FTX International, 18%, also known as West Realm Shire Services. Then they have the legal Javanese here. SBF paid for the stock repurchase using a mixture of FTX's token and BNB and BUSD, valued at $1.7 billion. Yep. The filing further claims that FTX and its sister firm, Alameda Research, were insolvent by early 2021, making the share repurchase deal fraudulent. So then Binance had a campaign to destroy FTX. And by the way, I have personally heard this is true. I have heard this is true. Just to be clear, like I have heard that CZ was in fact trying to destroy it like long before anybody else. Does that make sense? So the lawsuit alleges that Zhao orchestrated a campaign citing Binance as undermining the rival exchange. The filing mentioned that the FTX suspected that Binance was engaged in a months-long coordinated FUD campaign against FTX. An investor close at FBF testified that Zhao and SBF were at war with each other and one put the other out of business intentionally. I don't know about all that, but yeah. Yeah, there you go. Okay, the plaintiff went on saying that Binance and massive FTT, yep, were part of a deliberate strategy to destroy and improve Binance's market position. Anyways, I encourage you guys. Yeah, it's pretty vicious. I have heard a rumor, and this is an unfounded rumor, that this is actually true though. Like I don't know. Through the wire, I've heard that was true. Yep. There you go. Anyways, FTX and its creditors were harmed by Binance's Zhao and misleading statements they intended to acquire. Anyways, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody feels any sympathy for FTX. Like I think that's interesting when your lawyers are trying to like go plead your sympathy case in court. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. here's the difference right now. CZ went to jail and got out, and Binance was solvent the whole time. Do you guys know what I mean? Whereas FTX is in jail 25 years and like nobody uses it anymore. So I think it's difficult to kind of have like an even-handed approach in your legal argument. But you know what? God bless them. I wish them the best of luck. This is just other stuff from like, here's what happened in crypto today. So they talk about this. They talk about the Bitcoin futures market could be overheated, could be too many people getting liquidated. They say Elon Musk wants to end the Fed, which might be just a meme or not. By the way, guys, to be clear, I think this is the best thing I can talk about today. So if you guys listen to me right now, this is the best thing I can talk about. Because this affects your portfolio even more so than PYRESWAP going to peg, okay? Once upon a time, there was a guy named Andrew Jackson. Does anybody here know who Andrew Jackson was? Anybody in chat want to say who Andrew, like, does anybody here know? Does anybody in chat? Oh, by the way, yeah, thank you to who's chatting on Kick. He was an American president between like 1828 and 1836. Yeah. If you're an American, he's the guy on the $20 bill. So Andrew Jackson's face is on the 20. The 20 is supposedly the most circulated bill out of all the bills. So Andrew Jackson gets circulated the most. Now Andrew Jackson in I think 1832, he ended the SBUSA. And this, by the way, stands for Second Bank. Second Bank of the USA. So the Second Bank of the USA, this was the central bank at the time. So the central bank had a charter, and it was up to the president whether or not he wanted to renew this charter. Andrew Jackson, he was a veteran and a soldier during the War of 1812. So he basically saw what banks had done through the hyperinflation of 1819. He did not trust there being like mandated banks. Like he really understood this. Does that make sense? Like he understood it, and he wanted to kill the second bank in the United States. This is one of his motivations for running for president. So he was able to veto the charter of the second bank in the United States. To be clear, do you guys know what happened? Does anybody know what happened? I'll just be honest with you. I'll just kind of like summarize it. A whole bunch of fucking problems happened. Now, I'm not arguing for a central bank system, to be clear. But if you remember me talking about hard times tokens, if you remember me talking about the original meme coin, let's see. So right here on screen share, you can see that this was an American large or half cent copper or brass token. This was the original meme coin. In 1832, President Jackson ran for re-election and called for the abolition of the second bank. While he won, he worked to weaken the bank before the charter expired. Without the bank, state banks attempted to fill the paper money gap. Does that make sense? But the fact of the matter is that, yeah. And this was actually a species, he issued a species circular, which basically said that banks and others who receive public money were required to accept only gold and silver coins in payment for public lands. This was a really weird fucking maneuver on Jackson's part, but again, the point being is, all of the SBUSA debt collapsed. Does that make sense? So other banks were trying to circulate their own debt in the fucking collapse of this. But because it collapsed so hard, it's similar to how Terra Luna. Do you guys know about Terra Luna? Like the way Terra Luna went? Like everybody rejected the debt at the exact same time. So arguably, it's like this. Do you guys remember when the Afghanistan war was pulled out of, maybe in 2022, 2021? Do you guys remember when the Afghanistan war, like the U.S.-Afghanistan war 3 years ago? Do you guys remember where there was like people hanging onto the sides of fucking planes and shit? Like they had, do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember these visuals? Okay. So, while everybody agreed, it was very agreed across the board that it was time for the war in Afghanistan to end, there is a finesse and to the execution. There is like a type of competency that you need to do in making this change. Because if you make the change too abruptly, it's going to be chaotic no matter what. So to be clear here, the reason there's hard times tokens is because everybody blamed Andrew Jackson for fucking up the economy. Andrew Jackson was trying to save the economy, but because he saved it with way too much fucking volatility, everybody said like, okay, I didn't want that volatility, right? So therefore Andrew Jackson is to blame. They're not gonna go and think about like how banking works. Does that make sense? This is arguably a marketing lesson, by the way. I'm interpreting it like that. Does that make sense? Like they're not gonna go and like immediately start thinking about how it actually works. They're just going to think about like their immediate pain and react to that. Makes sense to you guys, right? So Andrew Jackson had the best intentions of ending the second bank of the United States, but he didn't exactly do it with style and grace. And because of that, I'll tell you this, rate of change, the rate of change is more important in a human's mind than the actual change. Does that make sense? Has everybody heard the term boiling a frog before? Does anybody here not know what boiling a frog means? Right. So there's a I would call it almost like an old wives' tale, and I don't know if it's actually true because I've never boiled a frog. But if you put a frog in a pot of water, he'll just sit in that pot of water, and or rather, if you throw the frog into a pot of boiling water, he'll immediately freak out. Oh, your daughter actually did it? Okay. The frog will freak the fuck out and get the fuck out. He'll flip his shit. But if you put a frog into a pot of room temperature water and then slowly bring that pot to a boil, the frog is not going to react at all because the temperature change is too gradual for him. I wasn't going to tell him, but yeah, very interesting. Does that make sense to you guys? The temperature change is so gradual that the frog won't even realize it's getting killed. It'll just eventually just overheat and pass out, and then it'll just die. Do you guys all understand the metaphor here? Yes? Okay. So the fact of the matter is that there's calls to end the Fed. Even if you guys believe and agree and understand why a future without a central bank might in fact be beneficial for the whole world, if they don't phase in a different system with like style and finesse and grace, it'll just fuck up the economy. Does that make sense? Because everybody who is, you got to keep in mind, just like finance news, the majority of people don't watch finance news. Do you guys understand? So you really have like this midwit curve, right? Right? You guys have seen that meme where it's like over here is an idiot, and then over here is like this midwit, and then over here is the fucking genius, right? So the midwit is the person who, yeah, this right here reads finance news. This person here doesn't, and this person over here knows the news is lying. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? So the point of it is that like this person here is actually the majority of people, right? I guess actually I drew this fucking curve wrong, but I drew that curve wrong. But what I'm going to say is the majority of humans, at least in the United States, they're going to get completely trucked by this. They're going to get completely blindsided because they don't really prepare for drastic changes. Do you guys understand? Like the average person in America like is not equipped to deal with a sudden change. Does that make sense? And because I'm not equipped to deal with a sudden change, all they're going to understand is the dollar collapsed. It's because the bank. They're not going to think about the causality. Does that make sense? Right? I'm not even going to do this. Yeah, like, you guys understand it, you don't. Yeah. So the point being is, I want you to understand that, you know, the ambitions of the Centimorg Circus actually do extend past PYRESWAP. But I think PYRESWAP is the most important proof of concept that we can prove as far as it comes to inventing new types of banking. I would love to invent new types of banking that actually build systems to replace the US dollar, meaning like a decentralized system that can actually have a nominally rigid and stable currency that people use to pay for actual things like groceries and dry erase markers and things like that, right? But yeah, we're not there just yet. We're not there just yet. But we could be a lot closer to hitting our targets with PYRESWAP. But let me get back to that in a second. Wednesday, we will have CPI numbers. Does that make sense? So we will see consumer price index numbers on Wednesday. Jerome Powell speaks on Thursday. So he's going to talk about Wednesday CPI numbers. There you go. There's your fucking spoiler. Okay? Jabri, no. No, yeah. It is, no, it would have to be, again, and Jabri, I'm going to explain something to you, by the way. I'm going to explain something to you because you're a channeler, and I'll talk about this real quick. Do you guys know what US dibs is not going to be stable enough? US dibs will still be like a wobbly ass dollar. Okay. Do you know how many nodes validate for the Phantom Opera right now? Jabri? Who here knows how many total nodes? No? Okay. I'll tell you. The list goes to like 17, but it's not. Yeah. It's not 17. 80ish, yeah, I would say 80ish or less. I would say in fact 40 to 80. 40 to 80 is probably a good number. I think it's around 60 personally. Make sense to you guys? Yeah. If you go look on the Phantom Foundation website, you can see that there's like pages and pages and pages. But a lot of them are like 0-day bots. You know what I'm talking about, Pyre Producer? Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Well, Pyre Producer, I'll tell you this. I would say that it might be dropping regardless. Yeah. 40 to 80. The point being is, 40 to 80 people, they are doing enough to secure the chain's future. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? So while we arguably have way more than 40 to 80 people in PYRESWAP, if you want to know the entire Phantom Opera, they only have 40 to 80 people running nodes. Make sense? Well, Jabri, the parallel here, by the way, is I think a lot of people misunderstood me in the past, but it doesn't take a large number of people to make the IWV self-sustain the whole system. Does that make sense? Like, legitimately, like, a few dozen people, again, like, that's really the maximum needed per epoch. If that makes sense to you guys. It's the same game theory. Yeah. Make sense? Like, so everybody who's, like, staking to run a node, they're playing every fucking block. Does that make sense? They're playing every block, right? They're contributing to every single block getting solved or whatever, right? It's the same way for the IWV. To be clear, like the IWV, like the game of PYRESWAP is in fact secured by, again, a few dozen people maximum, just to be clear. Like, so I wanted to say that because I think a lot of people felt, when I talk about 300 daily players, I think people think I mean 300 people staking on top of each other, like, as soon as possible. And it's like, no. Channelers would need to learn how to organize that level. On top of that, we have multiple chains and then multiple epochs. Making it to be clear, like, that's not what's required at all. Yeah. And also, participating does not mean staking all the time. Yeah. It's more like you need 300 people that are always kind of watching the game, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean 300 people across 3 chains, across 4 epochs. So when I say 300, maybe you can divide that number by 12, and maybe I only need 25. Does that make sense to you guys? What I'm saying is, yeah. It's, again, this is all game theory because we haven't really even gotten to that point yet. But I'm telling you that most of the ways this product has been designed continue to work, just to be clear. But that's also the point being that you don't need as many people as you think. It just requires more on that later. Okay, so CPI numbers. What I mean to tell you, Javery, is that you can do a lot with a little. That's what I really mean to say. And it is leverage. Yeah, you can do a lot with a little. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, I was saying that kind of like as a word of fucking encouragement because I always feel that everybody benefits from words of encouragement. CPI numbers. Thursday, we got Jerome Powell speaking. I'll tell you guys this. There is a lot of nothing burgers in the news. Yeah, and not even that. Not yet. Javery, no. I would say forehead kisses is when people are crying and complaining, and then I have to cater to that. Does that make sense? That's a little bit different. Yeah. Forehead kisses is specifically for when a child wakes up in the night and they had a bad dream. Yeah. Yeah, and they're like, I had a bad dream. Yeah. What I mean to say is like, I keep thinking that when people feel some type of strain, they think that like the success of this is beyond them when they're already succeeding at a bunch of things, if that makes sense. But what I mean to say is, yeah, it's like, yeah. Fantastic, CJ. Okay, in the news, there's a lot of nothing burgers. Do you guys know what a nothing burger is? This was a great word that came out of like 2015 and 2016 out of the media. And yeah. I would tell you this, and by the way, guys, in order to make Market Mondays that much better, I now officially have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Market News, and Market Watch, and like 4 other things. I have a combo subscription, so we'll be able to get all that paywalled content. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyways, no, it's about making. CJ, it costs $1.75 a week for the first year. So yeah, it costs $7 a month. But yeah, I think that it's worth it to make the show that much better, if that makes sense. We'll get more key insights, a little bit of an upgrade. On the content side, people continue to request that I go to do more SOTMA style content. And I'd love to do more of that, but of course we need to focus on getting PYRESWAP, the user base it needs first, right? Anyways, there's lots of nothing burgers. I'll tell you this. $0, CJ. Yeah, like I'm not corruptible. Yeah. Like they would need to fucking put a gun to my head, shoot me, and then lose. Yeah. Yeah, don't care. Oh, but guess what? I do know the guy who writes grants for Polygon. Yeah, it turns out a guy I knew in the past, he's now a grant writer for Polygon. So when we eventually get to Polygon, by the way, some people know Polygon has always been in the roadmap. Polygon was always going to be in like the next 3 chains. Anyways, turns out I do know the grant writer. But I'll tell you guys this. Yeah. I'll tell you guys this. We wouldn't even need the grant at that point. Does that make sense? Like if we're repegging these 3 chains first, and if we repeg these 3 chains first, I don't need a grant to go to Polygon. Like I'll accept it, I guess, if they want. But like, you guys get what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, by the way, Warren Buffett, and I'll just write this out because it's kind of weird. Holding $352 billion of T-bills. Did you guys know this? I appreciate that, and why not? Anyways, it is actually, this is actually not bullish. Yeah, CJ, this is not bullish. Yeah. So Warren Buffett holding T-bills is not bullish news. Yeah. Zonik, are you tagging them to ban them? Yeah, exactly. Well, no, he's actually fucking bailing into stables. Yeah. So if he's holding T-bills are a treasury instrument. And what that means is they are safer than the dollar. This is a safe haven. Safe haven. So Warren Buffett, who's arguably, one of the richer guys and one of the richest guy in finance, he is actually not in the market right now, and this is like a record of him insulating himself. I have no idea. Yeah, you're talking about Michael. You mean you're talking about Michael Saylor? Yeah, but Javery. Oh yeah, I'm talking about electronic. But yeah, but at the same time, to be honest, he doesn't normally do that. Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like he doesn't take profits. Like he doesn't like okay. Warren Buffett's style. By the way, does Warren Buffett know something we don't? And I'll screenshot. I'll catch up in a second. Yeah. So Warren Buffett, who has quoted his favorite holding period is forever. Yeah. So he continues. Yeah. So he continues to have substantial money. You're right. He is in his end game. Yeah. He is in his end game. Yeah. But he's never taken this much off the table either. A whopping $352 billion in cash, mostly in the form of T-bills. So to appreciate the immensity, consider that would also. You can give me screen share, Mr. Producer. Yep. Yep. To appreciate the immensity of that hoard, consider that would allow Berkshire to write a check with change left over for all but the 25 or most valuable listed U.S. corporations, Walt Disney, Goldman Sachs, etc., etc., etc. Does that mean mere investing? So what that means right here, yeah, cash and cash equivalents. Buffett and his late business partner, Charlie Munger, didn't outperform the stock market 140-fold by being market timers. Munger's most famous quote is that never interrupt it unnecessarily. So he's like, don't ever stop compounding, right? So investors who follow Berkshire closely and hope for a bit of its magic pay very close attention to what they're doing. But always optimistically and patient, he's now turned cautious. So anyways, the point being is, a lot of the market performance right now is like post-election hype. Does that make sense to you guys? CJ, yeah, I would say that's always worth noting. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm describing. Yeah. Like there's post-election hype right now. But to be clear, like there hasn't really been anything like done other than like press conferencing, right? As far as like Donald Trump's election goes, right? So, yep. Which is why I mean there's a bunch of a bunch of nothing burgers. Yep, and Warren Buffett, and then FTX, and we actually finished. Yeah. Yep. Anyways. Yeah, but I will tell you this. What I've noticed is that since the election changes presidents, the whole media has now shifted to thinking of Donald Trump as the president now, and he hasn't been like inaugurated yet. That doesn't happen until January. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Right? So like Bitcoin is kind of the same way, where people kind of like end up trading based on their beliefs. And where everybody believes something at the exact same time, that's when you see the price go up. Make sense? But these moments of sentiment, yeah, these moments of sentiment end up like coming back to reality. Yeah. Well, Javery, I think again, what Trump does is legitimately just keep the eyeballs on him. Trump is always like keeping the eyeballs on him. Naturally, it's more like he's an influencer first and the president second, in my mind, whatever. The point being is that most presidents don't accomplish more than like 10% of what they campaign on. Are you guys aware of this? Like presidents don't really accomplish like 90% of the stuff they campaign on. Trump's first term is not really an exception. Like even like the wall didn't get built and other things like that. Like I just think that's the nature of the beast. I'm not even pointing the fingers at Trump or Biden or Harris or whatever. I think that like the president is like this figurehead idea in people's minds. So therefore they assign a lot of power to this person, but that person doesn't have nearly as much power as they actually do. But again, people prefer to take the shortcut in the story, right? Everybody creates a story in their head. They don't think about like the technicals, right? So like the brain, human brain is like, hey, Andrew Jackson is the reason the dollars collapsed, And people will also say like, hey, Donald Trump is the reason the market's rallying. And like, these are just A to Z jumps. If you guys get what I'm saying. Yeah, like they're like the real truth is always to be revealed. Yeah. I mean, I would say more on that in yeah, like in general. Yeah. Yes, 1971. Yeah, 1971. Bretton Woods. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Yeah, but again, Javery. So yeah, um, you know, people didn't realize like what that was going to do, like at all. Like they kind of did, but the Federal Reserve has been spinning the plates since 1971, basically, right? Like they just like, okay, this is just currency by fiat, currency by mandate, and they're effectively trying to. It's interesting how the human brain can be kind of like molded by the society they live in. Anyways, I'm not gonna fucking tangent on that forever. Do you guys want to hear stuff about PYRESWAP? Yeah, we can talk about PYRESWAP here for the last 15 minutes. So, first of all, we're gonna make it. Yeah, we're gonna make it. I believe that this week we finally get to say that the factory's deployed. We will actually have the wheel turn for the first time. I'm waiting on 2 demos, and I'm gonna try to get this stuff published today to have this trial run. Additionally, there are some side. Okay. Additionally, this is the last thing that needs to happen before I can go on a fucking gauntlet of YouTube interviews. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. So, legitimately, like, once this AGA, and you guys understand the AGA, once this short form stuff, and it's right there. This is like my only focus at this point. I legitimately, like, I'm so excited for this. I want to end the show now and get back to work, but I'll give you guys, I don't know, 7 minutes to ask. Anyways, like, the goal is, and to be clear about this again, like, don't think about anything you're looking at now like this is the trend, because you haven't even seen the completion of the project yet. Just to be clear with you guys. Like, I talked about the fire sprinkler before last week, and it's like when you add new systems, you're adding new dimensions. And you add new dimensions, you add new exponents. So we are going to effectively just get AGAs as consistent as possible and then dial that in to the point where you guys, in general chat right now, it's oh, what's up, Diggs on Twitch? Yeah, thank you to everybody on Twitch or whatever. Yes, I mean, okay. I feel like these are not the most concrete updates I could give you, but I'll tell you that the design for the leaderboards is coming up soon. The design for these leaderboards is important because it helps people understand. It broadens the idea of liquidity incentives past Genesis. Yeah, AGA. Okay. Yep. Well done, CJ. Yeah, that's pretty clever. Yeah. What came first, the Christmas or the peg? Well done. Well, you know, believe it or not, Thanksgiving represents the 2-year anniversary of us doing the internal Revelation tour, and then December we did the public Revelation tour for this project. So in December, I think December 16th would be the 2-year anniversary of the Revelation tour for this project. If you can be bullish on anything tangible, you can at least see that it's been 2 years since that, and you know we haven't changed course. Most of everything that was designed back then has been designed the exact same way. I think the most critical design feature we took away was the decay, to be clear. Yeah. Damn. There are, okay. there are these. No, I'm not gonna talk about that. Never mind. Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, I appreciate your guys' patience. I'm only gonna get more laser focused and narrow on what I need to do. I'm really glad that we're doing Market Monday again. And yes, I did spend money on a paywall subscription for finance news. So naturally, the finance news in this segment can be more useful. Today just happened to be a national holiday in the United States, so it's just filled with nothing burgers. And most of the fucking news right now is just like, here's why Trump X, here's why Trump Y. And it's like, this is not the market news. This is like, they're in a clickbait business model now. Do you guys understand? Clickbait business model. So like everybody's looking at that, so they fucking maneuver to like get in front of those eyeballs. Does that make sense to you guys? I'll tell you guys this. I'll actually tell you guys something. I'll tell you guys something about the strategy of short form content right now. Yeah. Texans or Cowboys? Oh, what a great question. I legitimately only focus on this project. Yeah. Yeah. I live in the town where like UT is. So the University of Texas, they have this college team called the Longhorns, and they have this. So like in this town, they're all with the Longhorns. But yeah. Yeah, like I legitimately, I don't watch TV much. And my entire personality is this project. Yeah. Yeah, you can ask Pirate Producer too. Yeah, like if 60% of what we talk about is not this. We talk about, okay, sometimes we talk about aquariums, sometimes we talk about like stage equipment, sometimes we talk about things like the kitchen, and that's it. Yeah. That's like 10, 10, 10, and then 70 is just PYRESWAP. Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? It's the most important component. Yeah, the whole reason for this house is PYRESWAP at this point. Yeah. Just being honest. Whole purpose for my life. Yeah. I want you guys to know something. It is unthinkable for me to quit. It is unthinkable. I'll tell you guys this. It is unthinkable. Like, so I will die before I quit. We are pretty close to a pretty explosive breakthrough too. I'll just keep fucking... I appreciate your patience there. But yeah, it is unthinkable. It is unthinkable. Yeah, like I'll go into another fucking $500,000 of debt before I quit. Like, yeah, I'll go live in a homeless shelter and just continue to run the PYRESWAP show from a fucking bunk bed. Yeah, before I quit. Just being honest. Yeah, just being honest. I'm also a veteran, so I get the best homeless shelters. Did you guys know that? Yeah. If I need to, I can get into a very nice homeless shelter. Yeah, better homeless shelter than most of you guys get into. Yeah. That's how America works. If you're a veteran, you get like the top shelf homeless shelters. Yeah, you guys, I can't even show you guys these homeless shelters. You'll be foaming at the mouth with jealousy. Okay, so just take my word on that. That if I needed to go into a homeless shelter, by the way, Alessio, again, we're still not out of money from all the money we've borrowed from liquidity. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're not out of money. Yeah. Yes, electronic. Yes. However, not until AGAs happen. Yes, correct. Electronic. I'll tell you guys this. On the landing page, we're going to swap the F&B video. This is going to get swapped with the IWV demo. Does that make sense? Because the IWV demo, we already linked to it on the stake page. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, electronic. That right there is good for right there. Like right there, like the one right there, that's a hit. Secondly, as far as making those tutorials and things like that, okay, well, electronic, I'm not. Yeah, like I'm not, yeah. Like AGA or nothing, yeah. Like laser focus and everything. That right there doesn't do as much as making AGA start happening. Because once AGAs start happening, I can now work on that while marketing is happening in the background. Yeah, right now marketing doesn't really happen. We have a Twitter ambassador. I think the second one just finished the test. Oh yeah, our number 2 Twitter ambassador might be getting announced today. Yeah. Oh, AGI. Yeah, artificial general intelligence. Yeah, I thought you meant AGA. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, what I'm gonna say is, okay, electronic. A couple things I've been thinking about as far as the design. Have you guys ever seen click-through tutorials where like you go to a web page and it gives you like these pop-ups Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Do you guys know what I mean? And it gives you like a little thing here, and then it gives you like a little thing here, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Can you see the diagram on the board? I know it's gonna be hard to see, right? And it's like, click through the tutorial, and it says like, this is this, and this is that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And it's like a little slideshow. It's like 3 clicks of a slide. Have you guys ever seen that? Yeah, so we might add that to the fucking website too. Make sense? Right? Yeah, I'm serious, I'm serious. Yeah, I do mean all that. And yes, like why so cynical is saying, right now is the exact moment to get AGAs firing as quickly as possible. Because there's a whole bunch of resurgence into crypto, there's a whole bunch of resurgence into banking, all of this stuff, right? Elon Musk, again, tweeting stuff about ending the Fed. So what that means is anti-central bank sentiment is at peak right now. Like, it's time to fucking get ahead of it. Make sense to you guys? Like, attack, 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 attack. I'm gonna end the show now, guys. I'm fucking amping myself up. I'm not gonna be able to calm down. Yeah, does that make sense to you guys? So this could also be something that happens. Now, electronic. I would love to be able to like sit here and just have Pyre Producer record me. I'll have like a script that I read, and then we just jump cut it into the fucking into a tutorial, and I have like a screen share, right? I would love to do nothing more than that, right? But I need to make the user base problem solve first before I begin optimizing it. Does that make sense? As far as the funnel goes, there's no point optimizing a 0. There's no point improving a coefficient multiplied by 0. Do you guys understand? There's no point taking a 1.3x to a 1.4x if the other thing is a 0. I'm gonna draw that. Yeah, I appreciate that Pyre Producer almost turned it off, but hang on, let me draw this one more time. Okay. Okay. Do you guys remember what these stand for? Awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, advocacy. Awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, advocacy. Do you guys understand that these are the 5 phases of marketing, the customer's buyer journey? Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? I want an affirmation. Yeah. You guys have seen me draw this diagram at least 15 times now. I know that the PYRESWAP show thing is up. We are ending soon. But I'm going to have these questions answered. Somebody, yeah, somebody has seen me draw this before. Never? You guys have never seen this? Okay, Pyre Producer is laughing. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mack. Okay, so let me tell you guys this. Right now, we could argue that we have good multipliers at every single one of these stages. So advocacy might be like a 2.5x, and retention might be like a 5x, and purchase might be like 1.4x, and consideration might be like 1.2x. Does that make sense? But this right here is a 0x. Do you guys understand? So these are the equations. This is the equation. They all multiply on top of each other. Do you guys understand me here? So there's no point in making this 1.2x go to a 1.3x if we have a 0x up here. Do you guys understand? Like, what matters is getting this one above 0 first and then optimizing. Do you guys understand? Because there's no point in we don't have this. We don't have this. Yeah. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, awareness, if we don't have awareness generating activities, there's no point optimizing our CGAs. There's no point optimizing our purchase generating activities or our retention. This is the PYRESWAP show, by the way, which is actually a retention generating activity. Did you guys know that? Like, this show is part of our strong retention, right? But there's no point in optimizing this show if we have awareness at a 0. Do you guys understand? This is stuff that I learned about what I was doing. So it's kind of cool as I was able to learn, the PYRESWAP show is older than than me learning about marketing. But I learned that, okay, what we're doing as far as the PYRESWAP show is really good in the lower part of the funnel, right? Advocacy, also really good, lower part of the funnel. But if we have a 0 here, it's because of this 0. That's why the chart isn't already at peg yet. Does that make sense? Once I can make this 0 into a number that's not 0, okay, just wait. Everything else will be firing. I want to thank you guys for coming to the PYRESWAP show for Market Monday. We'll be back tomorrow. By the way, the times might have changed. So make sure to check your calendar and check the Discord for when the times are. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.